We want to welcome you guys to L3 Perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Glenn Davis. I'm sitting here with my guy, Cameron Macias.
It's your boy, Killer Cam.
What's going on, guys? Hey, we want to welcome you back to the L3 Perspective. As you know, my name is Glenn Davis. I'm sitting here with my guy, Cameron Macias.
Hey, Coach Cam.
Guys, we want to welcome you guys again to the L3 Perspective. Thank you for tuning in. This is a platform where we're constantly talking about life, where we're talking about love, where we're talking about leadership. Cam, I am super excited about today's guest. I just want to hand it over to you, man. Tell me how you guys got connected and if we can introduce the guests and dive into this conversation.
Yes. So before we start, as always, you guys, like, subscribe, share, comment, let us know how you feel, what you like, what you didn't like. That just helps us bring more value to you all because that's the reason that me and Glenn do this. So I met Nikki probably about 2 weeks ago. She was recommended to reach out to me via someone that I was connected with, 2 years ago, who had connected me to my coach, who then is the reason why I became a coach. And so I know it's a lineage. And so, but that's one of the things that I love most about LinkedIn is just like how that happens, right? And so she connected with me. I reached out to her, said, hey, what made you connect with me? Because I also like to know that, me, I like to connect with my people. And so, we hopped on, my coffee with Cam, got to know more about her. She's also a veteran, just retired back in September. And so we talked, about that, like her transition, what she's looking at. I got to know a little bit more about her. And then at that point, I was like, you should totally come on the podcast and talk about your story, talk about where you want to be at, what you want to do. We saw someone on a roof while we were on our virtual coffee. That was crazy. Like someone like running across a roof. Officially one of the most interesting coffee with Cams I ever had. Yeah, someone was getting chased on a rooftop. I was like, there's got to be cameras. So this is, and they make all the movies in Georgia now. And so, but anyways, Nikki, thank you for being here. Please tell our guests a little bit more about yourself, where you come from, kind of what landed you to where you are today.
Okay. First, I'd like to thank you all for having me on the show. My name is Nikki Glanton, just retired from the military after serving 21 and a half years active duty. I served as a senior communications advisor, where I drove communication strategy, led cross-functional teams, advised senior leadership on communication tactics and messaging, and also did some senior stakeholder engagement. You want more? Like, do you want
like it? Okay,
kids?
So where are you?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, tell us about your life.
That was the professional spill. Okay. Now, personally, I was born in Hawaii. Atlanta is my home. I have 3 children and 1 grandchild. So one more child out the house and I'm done. I'm an empty nester.
It's a wrap.
That's
okay.
Awesome.
So what got you into kind of the communications field?
I have always been one to get in front of the camera, get in front of groups and talk and entertain and plan events. I've always wanted to do that. But growing up in Atlanta and being around the CNN Center, I would drive by there and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm going to work in there one day. I'm going to be a news anchor just like them and be on television. Mm-hmm. Well, when I joined the military, I joined as a logistician. And so at that point, I started adulting and I forgot about my childhood dreams. Little did I know that the military would allow me to change career fields midway through. So about 15 years in my military career, I was able to transition over to public affairs. And I'm like, whoa, I'm feeling like a kid again. Mm-hmm. I'm feeling like maybe my dreams are attainable, right? I don't have to stay in the logistician lane. I can actually chase after my dreams. And once I crossed over to public affairs, it went so smooth because I was operating in my purpose. I was doing something that came natural to me.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing when you can be doing something, you can find your purpose within it, right? And there are so many people that are like, oh, I don't know what I want to do. Sometimes I realize this in life. Sometimes your purpose finds you rather than you trying to find it. And so that's pretty cool to see that you were able to use the military as a springboard to have it connect back to your purpose and what you want to do to where you are today. So that's pretty cool.
Yes.
Oh, for sure. And especially like that change, like 15 years in, and then you changed, so many people I think would be scared of that transition. Like, what was kind of the decision maker behind that? Was it just like you woke up one day, you're like, I don't want to do this no more, I need to do something else? Or like, how did that thought process go?
Okay. So one of my closest friends, she was diagnosed with cancer. So we were in the hospital. She had just had surgery, and we're sitting there, and she's like, "What's up, Nikki? How are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm here for you. How are you doing?" She's like, "No, I need to know how you're doing." I said, "I go to work every day, and I have no problem with accomplishing tasks, but I'm not happy. I feel like I'm not operating in my purpose." She was like, "What do you want to do?" I said, "Well, I majored in public relations and marketing, and I'm not able to do that in the military right now." So mid-conversation, I kid you not, in walks this full-bird colonel, Colonel Boring, Crystal Boring, who happens to be public affairs in the Army. I did not know that public affairs was a thing in the military. What? Someone gets paid to be on social media?
Oh, wow.
Take pictures, do video, come up with a communication strategy, talk to people? What? I didn't know this existed. And so I was telling her about, we continued the conversation in front of her, and she was like, "Nikki, after you leave from here, I want you to send me over your last 3 evaluations, your weapons card, and your fitness card." Right? Because in the military, you have to not only know what you're doing, you have to be physically fit and able to shoot. Shoot, communicate, and move.
Yep.
So I did just that.
Right. Yep.
And she set up an interview, and I think I blew them away because right there on the spot, they called the branch, which is a place that helps people change career fields. And so they called this office and said, "Hey, how can we get her in our field? We need someone like her in our field." And that's how that happened.
Yeah.
Yes, it was scary, but I had to follow my heart and not the rank.
Yeah.
I love it. Follow the heart, not the rank. So through your experience, so as you kind of dove into your passion in it, and you started, you cross-trained into public affairs, what was it about in that season of your life to where you really was clear on what you wanted to do after the military?
I had to sit still. I had to sit still and listen and watch and observe what was going on around me. I had to ask myself a question. Nikki is happiest when she is blank. I had to ask that question. I had to ask myself, if a company, what would I be willing to do for free? If someone said, "Nikki, will you do this?" And I naturally said, "Yeah, of course, this is too easy. Come on, let me help you." And I got excited about doing it. That's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And so I narrowed it down, and I discovered that my purpose in life was to impact, empower, and serve people. I am happiest when I am impacting, empowering, and serving others.
She fits right in alignment with our conversations, man.
That's why I said it.
Empower, and serve people. That's something that Kim and I talk about every single day, and hats off to you for like I said, not only you highlighting and defining your purpose, but really honing in to impact and empower and serve others, man. I'm a pass it to you.
No, I mean, we talked about this before, and I told Nikki this too. Is that's how I became a coach.
Yeah.
I was good at doing recruiting in the military. I was good at doing the recruiting in the private sector as well. But realistically, I got to the point, like she said, where I wouldn't do this for free.
Right.
I wouldn't do this for free. And it took my coach kind of pushing me into that to where I do coaching for free. I do pro bono coaching, and I give it the same effort I do the paid coaching, and it all has the most wonderful effect, you know. And that's really where my passion ended up lying, was that leadership aspect of it. You know, like I have a client now, and one of the best things I hear when I talk to them is they say, man, you learn something new about yourself every day, just through like one conversation. Or they're just like, I never looked at it like that. Yeah. Or, wow, this really is achievable. I just was mentally blocking myself from knowing that it was achievable. Yeah. And so, I mean, kind of the same thing, you know, and the universe puts those little nuggets there when you need them, right? Yeah. Like you said, like in that conversation, all of a sudden walks in a full bird who's in public affairs. Like,
right.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yes. Yeah. So Nikki, question for you.
Crazy.
Oh, go ahead. No.
Yeah, that was one
Nikki,
walking
question
in mid-conversation.
Yeah. That's the movement, man. So you talked about being still, right? And that's something that many people don't have that gift, or they don't have the patience of being still. You know, what was it for you? You recognizing that you needed to be still in order to move forward.
Okay, I have an executive coach. And I got with my executive coach maybe 2 years prior to me getting out the military. And in the military, we are taught to adapt and overcome. So you can put us in any office and we're going to learn the job and we're going to make it happen. That's exactly how we operate. Mm-hmm. And I came to her one, she was like, Nikki, what is it that you want to do? I'm like, I do this, I do that, I do this, I'm really good at this, you know, naming all these things. So she was like, what do you want to do when you get out? I'm like, I want to be this. She says, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take away all titles. We are going to take away all titles. From now on, I don't want you to have a title. I want you to describe the action. What does it look like, right? And so I got in the habit of saying, okay, I want to help people do this. I want to empower and inspire young teenage mothers. I want to do, I started naming all these things that I enjoy doing. I love building teams. Yeah. I naturally can project manage. Those are the things that I like to do. So after months and months of being titleless, we discovered, chief of staff. Chief of staff is your calling. After looking up multiple job descriptions, how can I go on the outside of the military and figure out what, put a title to it? Chief of staff was that title. Yeah. Well, that's what I am working towards. But in the meanwhile, since I just retired at the end of September, I feel like it's very important for me to sit still and discover who I am without the titles. Because when I joined the military 21 years ago, I was Private Glanton. No Private Glanton, move Private Glanton, do this Private Glanton. When I retired 21 years later, it was yes, Master Sergeant, do that, Master Sergeant. Master Sergeant was my name. My identity, yes, I had Nikki Glanton, but in the end, I was Master Sergeant. And so now that has been, now that I'm retired, I have to discover who I am without the titles, and quite frankly, discover who F's with me without the title.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That could be hard for a lot of people. Like really, because you're so, dedicated to something for 20 plus years, then to take off that uniform and put your own uniform on, you having to reinvent yourself. That is key.
And that's I think
valuing ourselves based off our work ethic, but that's not who we are. That's not the essence of who we are. And so now that I am, intentionally vacationing, I have the time to kind of figure out what it is that makes me happy.
No, and that's important. And that's like that twofold. I would say part of that being still, right? Because when you're still and you're not putting stuff out there, talking to people all the time, like you said, that's when you figure out who's paying attention, like who actually cares, like who's messing with you, hey, I've noticed this, I've noticed that. That was a major lesson for me, probably about two years ago into this past year is, because as a recruiter, I talked to so many people. So surface level, you would think like, yeah, all these things are happening. But once I took a really big break after COVID, that 100 people I was talking to on an average basis turned into 20.
Right.
And I was like, all right, these are the people that that truly mess with me, that notice the moves I'm making and are either celebrating me openly or even behind closed doors. And those are like the circles I always tell people that to really pay attention to.
Yeah, that's cool. That's powerful, man. And even alongside of that, Nikki, when we talk about life and love, right? So obviously you have a love for serving people. Serving people obviously impacts life. Like where do you? And I know you talk about kind of the chief of staff. Like, in this chapter of your life, how are you impacting and inspiring people? Out there in the Georgia area.
So, I am going to take it beyond Georgia. I think that veterans need to know what it's really like to transition. We post the pretty stuff. We post that we retired with the certificate. We post, ooh, I got a job. Right. And, it looks good. But there's this in-between phase where you are questioning your worth. You're wondering if you're good enough. You're trying to stick to a standard that other people hold you to. Oh, you did well in this category. You in the Army, you killed it. Oh, in no way, when you cross over, you're going to have to do it this way over here. But I want to be honest and transparent with what's going on. So my current impact is to sit still and to tell the story on how I'm feeling, telling people that it is okay to not know where you are going right now, or what you are doing right now at this very moment. It's okay to feel that way. After doing something for so many years, that becomes your identity. And so now you have to unlearn, right? They say the hardest lesson to learn is to unlearn. I'm unlearning things.
100%.
When I joined the military, they broke me down as an individual and they built me up as a soldier, right? So now I'm having to decompress and come out of that. I'm a soldier always. Yeah. I'm always going to be tough, mentally tough. I think that's a great characteristic that veterans bring to the table. We are flexible. We're mentally tough. We meet objectives. We are good people to have on a team. But I'm trying to find my new tribe. What does that new tribe look like? There's people out here who say they want to serve the community, who want to impact the community, but they also say it for the attention or the views. Who's really making that difference? And sometimes making that difference happens beyond the camera, beyond the camera's view. That phone call in the middle of the night when such and such is like, oh my gosh, I'm lost. I feel like I just made the worst decision. My family is ruined. I'm not going to be able to pay these bills. And you're there talking them through it and speaking life into them. That's why I tell my story transparently. Because it doesn't matter how many years you have, how much experience you have, how boss you think you are. We're human at the end of the day.
Yep.
I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it.
And you never know, like those battles. Everyone's like they always talk about that. If everyone took their problems, put it in a pile, you take your problems back.
Right? Yeah. 100%.
I don't think that's talked about enough, especially in like you said, or like Rico said, pretty words, right? Like that's the stuff that we see a lot of. I talked to my buddy the other day, and he didn't plan on working. He was fortunate enough not to necessarily need to work, but he got a job offer from someone that he worked with while he was, a chief in the Air Force. And when the dude told him what he valued him at, he was just like, y'all actually think I'm worth that? And that's and I think that's something that we have to get over mentally is we are worth so much more than we think we are.
Right.
And it may not happen right away. Don't get me wrong. Like, because sometimes there just has to be a little bit of value shown, I think, in the civilian sector. But ultimately, like, don't give up on yourself.
Right.
Like, you like find the place that values you the way you're supposed to be valued, even whether it's a dollar amount or just the respect that you receive.
Right.
Like, you know, be happy where you are.
Yeah. Shout out to all the veterans in the military.
All the bees. Did you tell her you were retired?
I didn't.
Okay,
I don't know.
he's retired Air
yes,
Force.
So I just retired as well. So you mentioned 21 years, Master Sergeant. So same 21 years. So from vet to vet, definitely salute you for your service and everything that you've done and serving our country and serving people within it. So, yeah.
So as you move through the transition and move into the job market, what are kind of some like personal goals that you have?
Okay. So one of those goals is to work for the government for another 10 years because of course, another retirement under my belt sounds good. After I finish working, I have about 10 more years of energy, high energy. So if I'm going to step into an organization, I'm going to plant those seeds and I'm going to watch it grow and I'm going to hustle all 10 years. After those 10 years, I plan on doing some advising, consultation, and also recruiting of Black and brown people. I feel like we lack sponsorship at high levels, and that's what I'm running into. Is there? We know lots of people. I know lots of people, but are we the decision makers? Do we have access to the decision makers or to influence the decisions that are being made? And that's one thing. I think I'm grateful that I'm going through it, trying to figure that all out, because that is going to drive me to have more passion for when I get to where I'm going, to intentionally be open for people to reach out to me and say, Nikki, this is what I can do. And because my network is large, I'm able to say, okay, I can put you exactly with this person. And you're not just talking to a person just to talk to them, right? You want to talk to the right people who are going to help you move the needle.
Yeah. I love it.
Did that answer your question?
Okay.
So interesting. Yeah. No. Yeah. Well, there's more to that. But real comment real quick as far as the representation.
Yeah.
So I had a buddy call me the other day because the Air Force does this program called the GEO program where they bring high-ranking minority generals into communities to try and spur up, obviously, the diversity among the officer ranks. And he said, hey, man, do you know a Hispanic general in California? And I said, I don't. And I said, if I'm being 100% honest, I've never even heard of a Hispanic general.
I was just thinking the same thing. Yeah.
And so it's funny that you say that because there are times where I haven't necessarily felt like there wasn't a lot of representation, but I remember when he told me that in that moment I felt like that. I said, why can I not name one Hispanic general? Like, that's crazy. Honestly, I don't even know a Hispanic full bird colonel.
Right.
I know they're out there, I'm sure, but I thought that was interesting. So those, in my opinion, and this is the coach hat, we're still very work-based goals. What are some you want to write a book? I think you have a great story. Is that maybe a goal of yours?
Yes, so I did.
Do you want to travel more?
You know, when your mind is focused on transition, that's where it's at. I think that once I got out of the military, what was important to me was having that quality time with my family and friends, being able to attend those dinners, those smaller functions. And they're big. They're big to the person who was being celebrated, but I'm used to taking leave for weddings, funerals, births of children, those ticket items. Now I get a chance to actually go to a birthday dinner, Sunday dinner with my family. That right there, that quality time is one of my personal goals. As a mother, a full-time working mother, a mother who was in the military, 5 combat deployments. I stayed gone a lot from my children. If I wasn't deployed, I was training for the deployment. If I wasn't training or deployed, I was resetting for another deployment. So I was constantly busy, and I don't believe that I was able to show up for my children as much as I desired to. Thank God for the other parents within my community that helped out, or let's say it was red t-shirt day at school and they happened to be working at school and had a red t-shirt and they gave my kid a red t-shirt. I'm grateful for families for the parents who do not work, who are able to be there with our children, because it takes a village. It takes a village. And now that I'm retired, my goal is to spend quality time with my family and my friends. Even if it means I'm just sitting down on the couch drinking coffee with my mom, that is perfect for me. So that's my personal goal.
I love it.
That's
good.
I like it.
Yeah. So, I mean, as we gear up to wrap up, Nikki, I definitely want to say, number one, again, thank you for your service. Very, very appreciative of that. Thank you for your time. Glad that you were able to hop on. To all of our listeners, true leadership is just that, right? Nikki hit on 3 points three words that really stood out, right? And inspire, empower, and serve, right? And that, Nikki, for that, I continue to, publicly challenge you to keep being who you are, keep discovering who you are, and impacting and open up those doors for the Black and brown community and what you're doing. So I definitely salute you from one vet to another.
Thank
So
you.
tell our folks where they can find you.
So you can find me on LinkedIn at Nikki Glanton, Instagram at Nikki Glanton, Facebook at Nikki Glanton, and lastly, my website, www.nikkiglanton.com.
Let's go.
Consistency.
I love it.
I'm about it. All right. Well, hey, just like Glenn said, thank you so much. A lot of good gems dropped on here. Just a lot of good lessons too, as you're making that transition. And so we appreciate you. And, as you guys know, subscribe, let us know, follow Nikki, connect with her, check out her website, let her know if you think she might be able to help your community. And ultimately, we will see you guys later. Appreciate you, Nikki.
Thank you.